All right, welcome to the 21st Century Physio podcast. We're very lucky today to have Jack O'Brien here from Terrace Physio Plus and Clinic Mastery. There's going to be a lot of expertise dropped today, I think, in regards to how you can start to build and grow your practice, and how you can build a better team and better culture in your business. So, love to welcome Jack today to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, mate. Great to be here. Let's have some fun.
Now, Jack, tell us a little bit about yourself first before we get into what you've been doing at Terrace Physio and Clinic Mastery. Where did your journey start?
Sure. So I'm a physiotherapist by trade. So I grew up playing rugby league. I'm from Newcastle, the hometown of the Knights. Up here with rugby league, played that, experienced a lot of injuries, spent a lot of time on the physio table. And like most physios, that's what got me into the profession. So I studied at Newcastle and probably like a lot of physios too, wanted to transition into medicine. So I sat the entrance exam to get over to medicine and had a bit of an epiphany. I thought I don't want to be a slave to the public system and working night shifts and 10 years as an intern and resident. So ended up sticking with physio and through that journey then of still playing relatively high level rugby league. I was just one step below first grade, nearly made it, but injuries pulled me up. And so I guess had that romantic idea of private practice, sports physio, working with teams, dabbled in that a little bit as a physio with some of the Knights juniors, and realised that sports physio wasn't my thing. I couldn't think of anything much worse really than treating prima donna athletes early in the morning and late in the evening, but loved musculoskeletal and the private practice environment. My father has a small business in transport and was always interested in business. So ended up taking a new grad job in private practice. Never worked a day of my life in a hospital setting, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yep.
And ended up taking a new grad job at Terrace Physio Plus.
Yep.
And worked my way through there and ended up getting an offer to buy out that practice a couple of years in. And so here we are today, still as the owner.
So a couple of years in, that's a pretty big move, taking on a physio practice. Did you feel a little bit nervous about that decision? Was that a tough decision to make?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was, certainly. And I think a lot of clinic owners or even just physios would wrestle with that tension of, do I start my own practice or do I buy a practice? It made sense for me in this instance to buy, but it meant taking on a significant amount of debt and responsibility. And, the truth is, I was 2.5 years of physio when I bought it. I was pretty raw, pretty wet behind the ears still, but I guess not unlike a number of physios, I was getting not frustrated, but a little bit bored and looking at that progression of the physio career and where to next. And so for me, practice ownership was the perfect opportunity for me to challenge myself and to craft a model of care that we wanted to bring that was a little bit different to everywhere else.
Yeah. And what was that difference?
For us, it's around client experience. We wanted to create an environment where people love to come, that they would get great outcomes, but that they would also have amazing experiences. Our first clinic in Raymond Terrace, it's not the most desirable environment, not the most desirable suburb. And so we wanted to create a sanctuary where people would come and get great experiences, but feel welcomed, feel loved, appreciated, listened to. And so that's now evolved. Our clinic would pride ourselves on having the most touch points throughout a client journey than any other clinic, from pre-appointment through their recovery journey. And then afterwards that we would create an environment where people are welcomed and have an experience that they feel valued and really connected to.
And so what are some of those touch points you start, even before patients walking through your doors? What are some of the things that you look to do, to start to welcome them into your practice and make them feel confident that this is the place for them?
We want to be the people, even before someone needs an injury, that we're their trusted advisor, we're their go-to with information. And we've taken a slightly different approach to probably a lot of physio clinics. I actually don't care what most physios think about me and our clinic. I care what our patients think about us. At the end of the day, they're the ones we're here to serve. They're the ones that pay our bills, and they're the ones that we want to impress. So the reason I say that is because our content strategy is really important to us. We create a lot of video, a lot of written articles, very strong on social presence, so that before someone even thinks about becoming a client of our clinic, that they would know who we are because of our education. We would be the trusted provider there. And so then it comes through to creating amazing experiences through the booking process, through the phases of the client journey that they go through. For us, one of the most important times is from the time of booking through to the time they walk through the doors for that initial consult. And so we're using all different modalities, from email, SMS, the post. We're using app communication, video, audio, all sorts of different mediums to be able to connect with and communicate to our clients.
Fantastic. And so you mentioned video is a big part of your strategy. What sort of videos and marketing material are you finding that's working really well for your practice at the minute?
Yeah, it's a great question. I love video. And more, the reason I love video is not because I like the sound of my voice or the look of my face. To be honest, it rubs me the wrong way a little bit. But clients love video. And so, Steve, it doesn't matter what I think or what we think as clinicians. It matters what our patients think. Patients love video. And so we're using it across the socials. So Instagram stories, Facebook Lives, videos uploaded to YouTube and on Facebook. But what we're finding that patients are really loving is customized, personalized video, things that go out in emails as part of their welcoming and onboarding that are really just useful, helpful, and they address what's known in business land as buyer's remorse.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a funny term that we're not really familiar with as physios, but if you put yourself in the patient's shoe, they may have made an appointment. They've got a problem and they think that your profession, physio, chiro, osteo, whatever, can solve their problem. As soon as they make that appointment, the next couple of minutes through to a couple of hours is a little bit remorseful in the sense that, have I made the right decision? Have I chosen the right professional? Can I afford this? So there's all these questions running through our client's mind. And so we want to be the ones that help put them at ease, reinforce that they've made the right decision, and help guide them through the next couple of days. So that sort of video is a lot of fun and patients love it. It makes a massive difference, Steve, to the initial consult for physios. So when a patient walks through the door, they've heard your voice, they've seen your face, they understand where the toilets are and to expect a cup of tea in what we call the welcome room, because we don't like to make patients wait. We like to make them feel welcome. The patients are primed for a great experience. We find that they get better outcomes, they adhere better to their treatment plans, better from an economic perspective, but more importantly, the client experience is number one.
And I think that's key. I think I found it was often difficult working in a bigger, private practice when I sort of came out as a graduate out of physiotherapy, and you just get whatever patient walks through the door basically, and you're having to try and you're putting this amazing management plan into place, but they're not really sold on the clinic already. It makes it really difficult to help that patient if they're not sure if this is the right place to help you. You can't focus 100%. On that out long-term goal. It's about trying to just get that initial buy-in. So if you can already decrease that risk, as you mentioned, if you can decrease, if you can increase the buy-in even before they've walked in through the door, it's going to make a huge difference, especially if if you've got a team around you.
Yeah, now, clinicians love it. And I might just say an interesting element that we've tried and tested is that most of our clinic videos come from me as the clinic owner, but yet our patients know that they're not going to see me. They're going to see one of our other 8, 10, 12 physios, whatever it's up to. And that dynamic of being the clinic owner versus being the clinician and the hands-on is an interesting divide as well.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit more about that. So you've obviously bought one practice, I believe?
Yeah, we bought one practice in little old Raymond Terrace, which is on the outskirts of Newcastle. And since then, we're now up to 5 clinics across the Hunter region, from Maitland all the way down through to the beach at Newcastle here. And physio, massage, a multi-site team that work. Most of our team work across at least 2 locations of varying different sizes. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good juggle, trying to juggle 5 at once. And
so when did you decide, it was the time to get off the tools?
Yeah, good question. I got to a place for me where the first thing was work-life balance. So as soon as I bought the clinic, I went from 5 days consulting back to 4. Yeah. I figured if I'm going to work hard and bleed through my eyes for this thing, my family deserve more time than otherwise. For me, it was a family thing initially. We went into massive debt, worked huge hours, and I wanted my family. So my wife, and at the time, when we bought the business, I had a 3-month-old. So we had a baby, bought a business, and I actually took on the chairman of the board of a charity as well, all within 3 months.
Perfect time.
Oh, mate, I tell you what.
There's never a good time, though, I don't think, is there?
No, there's not. And if you're going to go in, you might as well go all in.
Yeah.
So, it was a family thing first. So come back to 4 days. So that my family knew, if nothing else, I'd work 4 crazy days, but have Fridays off. And then it transitioned to, we're going to 2 sites, 4 sites, 5 sites. I got a team of, up to, I think at one stage we had 13 clinicians. And in order to be able to give them a great experience so that they could pass that on to our patients, I needed to reduce my consulting hours. I could only help my team as much as I wasn't consulting. So team ended up becoming a priority for me.
Yep, fantastic. And so when you say, you need more time to spend on your team, what are some of the key areas that, that you tend to focus on with your team in regards to, I guess training or as I said there, just the experience in your, company?
Yeah, sure. So I've gone back now I haven't consulted, I haven't seen a patient since August 2017 at the time of this recording. So for me, I can now spend my whole time, all of my hours when I'm working for Terrace Physio Plus on building into my team. And I actually, interestingly, Steve, have taken a non-clinical approach. So one of my physios, he's responsible as a clinical team leader for the professional development and in-services and all that sort of stuff. My role is getting the best out of my team personally. And so I say to my guys and girls, we win, our clinic wins, I win personally when you win at life and when you've got great work-life balance. So we do some interesting things around how they manage their hours and leave. When you're achieving your financial goals, when you're achieving your life goals, professional goals, all that sort of stuff. So we spend a heavy amount of time on mentoring, on having a lot of fun, and making sure that our communication is really up to speed.
Fantastic. Now, I imagine mentoring was a big part of your development going forward. When you take over a practice, with little, only a little experience in physiotherapy. I imagine not a lot of business skills apart from probably what you've learned over from your dad over the years. What was influential for you? Like, who were the big people who were responsible for helping you grow as a business owner?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's interesting from Dad. I probably learned what not to do a lot from Dad, who still works 90 hours a week. No, he did teach me a lot. But for me, I looked at us as a profession and go, we spend 50 odd grand on a degree, and we all get, well, most of us get a CPD allowance from our employer, and we all cough up our cold hard cash to continue our professional development. It's incumbent on me as a clinic owner to do the same thing. And so I went out, invested straight into some mentors, and wanted to speed up my learning. I actually, interestingly, toyed with the idea of doing an MBA versus getting some private business mentoring and coaching, and decided that I wanted speed. I want people who've had some skin in the game, understand the health space, and went down that route. And having that accountability and mentorship meant the world to me. As clinicians, we value working in places where we're well supported and have a lot of mentoring. And so likewise for me in business space. And yeah, it was amazing. It really was. It was probably responsible for a lot of our growth, most of our growth actually.
Fantastic. So now you're obviously getting into taking your mentoring that you've done, at your scale at the clinic, and sort of taking that a bit further when you joined the Clinic Mastery team. Tell us a little bit more about your journey with the Clinic Mastery guys.
Yeah, so I was a client of Clinic Mastery. They're the mentors that we were speaking about. Went through the business academy there, and I combined, before I joined Clinic Mastery, I love digital marketing and, Facebook, social media, Google. Marketing and sales, often in the health space, is seen as slimy and salesy and unethical. For me, marketing is about getting the right message in front of the right people at the right time so you can help more people. You can be the best clinician you like, but if no one knows about you, you're going out of business going pretty quick, and you're going back to working in hospitals. And I know that I don't want to do that. So marketing was really my strong suit. And Clinic Mastery really helped me focus on the client experience and the systems, the know-how, and the accountability behind the scenes. Went through the business academy and have since bought in as a partner. And so I actually spend most of my time now, Steve, mentoring other clinic owners how to create amazing experiences, how to use digital and general marketing principles to grow their clinic, and implement systems to have brilliant teams that are functional and high performance.
Yeah, and so when you're looking at the systems and helping them manage it, the particular pieces of technology and stuff that you find work, for them really well, and or for yourself at Terrace Physio.
Yeah, for me, it's having a couple of key elements in place. So having the right systems housed in the right place. So, without going into too much detail, we've got a business academy. We roll out a hub for people where all of the policies, procedures, and systems live in one place that's easily accessible at all times by the right people. So having the right systems in the right place is really important. I constantly speak with other clinic owners around having the right team. So making sure that your recruitment messages are targeting the right people at the right time, and that you onboard them and mentor them really well. And it's interesting, a lot of clinic owners will say, but I don't want to spend the time and the dollars investing in my people. Well, you can either invest that time in them and they might leave, but what if they stick around and you don't train them properly? And you've
Yep.
got the truth is, Steve, you'd know if you're a clinic owner, we spend most of our days putting out fires and wrestling with headaches to do with people. And so I want to make sure that our clinic and other clinics have amazing team in place where I can literally not, I don't go to 4 of my clinics. I go to 1, half a day a week. And my team operate at high performance, high levels. They do the right things and create amazing experiences. So systems team, I love clinics that create amazing experiences, that do things differently. I've got friends over in Adelaide that have amazing massage chairs in their, in their welcome room, because we don't like to call it waiting room. We like to make people feel welcome, not waiting. Through to coffee experiences in the welcome room, free Wi-Fi. The truth is, when we create amazing experiences, patients get better outcomes. It's just the truth of it. And so making sure that those 3 things are in place, that systems, team, and experiences are humming along, ends up having a really strong purpose and profit at the end of the day.
Yeah. And so what are some of the biggest problems you've found that clinic owners face that you work with? What are some of the key areas? Obviously, you mentioned those 3 key areas of the things that you focus on,
Mm-hmm.
but breaking them down a little bit further, what are some of those key problems that, you really get in there and try and target, or that you want to identify first at a business to see if it's performing well?
So knowing your numbers, that's the first place. So making sure that your practice management software is working for you and you've got the right dashboard set up so that not unlike the movement assessment tool, that you've got data to be able to make the right decisions. If you don't have data, you're flying blind. Yep. So making sure that we're getting the right, what we call CEIs. We don't like to refer to them as KPIs. They're clinical excellence indicators. It's not just about metrics and KPIs, but CEIs in place. We want to make sure that clinics are leading functional teams. And so addressing these elements of team that often get neglected. What we find, Steve, is that most clinic owners, and especially physios, have a personality profile that tends away from confrontation and conflict, that is naturally a little bit cynical and skeptical of other humans. And I think that's one of our strengths as physios, right? We're skeptical around evidence and clinical approaches that might not be so well founded in literature. But what that means is that we don't trust people. And so we don't often have conversations that are just healthy, honest, real, candid conversations. So making sure that clinic owners are having those conversations with their team, and also creating pathways. So the reason we do all that mentoring and development is to make sure that we've got humans on our team that are high performance and that are focused and goal oriented. They're not just robots that need to see 70 consults a week. We want to make sure that people are having the time off and got maybe unlimited leave, or they can set their own work hours. They can come and go when they want. So that they're some of the key areas that clinic owners need to work on, as well as the marketing. I love digital marketing and social media. And so being able to get your message in front of more people and helping more people, because, I can say that to this audience, but, physio really is the hope of the world in a lot of senses when it comes to pain and exercise. And I love physio. Like, I'm a born and bred physio. And so I want to get our message in front of as many people and in as many ears as possible.
Fantastic. So you've obviously got some big views on, physiotherapy. Where do you think it's going to go over the next, 5, 10, 20 years? What do you see the future of physiotherapy looking like?
Yeah, look, there's a couple of different ways I can see it going, and it scares me a little bit, but I guess if we're to call it out, I can actually see physio crashing and burning a little bit. And it breaks my heart, but I see a lot of physios that are, passive aggressive towards our profession and whinge and whine about the APA or the APRA or this or that. Unless you're going to put some skin in the game and cough up some cash or volunteer some hours to make a difference, then things aren't going to get better. So that would be my first challenge to physios: is if you believe in it as much as we say we do, let's make it work and really push our profession forward. If we don't, I can really see things like EP and osteo and myotherapy in the southern states really taking some ground office. But I also see physio as the leaders in research, the leaders in clinical development, the leaders in technique approaches. And so becoming the trusted advisor of the general public really excites me, that we would be able to combine our manual skills as physios as well as our really detailed, in-depth knowledge of exercise. We just need to tell the doctors that we do know how to do exercise. Manual skills, exercise, and then our education approach, our ability to communicate data and evidence to patients really positions us as the preferred provider for patients that are in pain or want to move towards performance. So I think we can become the preeminent therapy modality but I think we've got to take some personal responsibility and ownership for that.
Yeah, no, I love that approach. Now, Jack, if people want to hear it and see a little bit more of you, how do they find you?
So Terrace Physio Plus is our clinic, terracephysioplus.com.au. You can find our team page. You can see me with a bit of a bigger beard back then. You can see how we do things as a clinic, and from a clinic mastery perspective, clinicmastery.com, you find out about what we do there to help clinics create amazing experiences and teams.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining the 21st Century Physio podcast today, Jack. It's been some great knowledge, and maybe we'll look to get you back in the future to delve a little bit more into some of that client experience. I think that's a really important thing that we can all do better as practice owners.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steve.
Good. Thanks, Jack.